On today's episode of Comfort Kills, Elliott Vang guides people to self-discover new habits and beliefs so that they can live the life they've always dreamed of. As a first-generation Hmong-American, he has found purpose in the pain of his father's tragic passing and applied what he's learned into his coaching business. Elliot uses a holistic approach where he works on all areas of your life to discover heightened and sustained levels of performance over the long term. All right, Elliot, thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Well, hi, Jasmine. How are you?
I'm great. So let's go ahead and get started. And why don't you share a little bit about yourself and your story?
Well, Jasmine, first off, I'm honored and it's a pleasure to be on your platform and your podcast with you. So I just want to say thank you for that first.
Thank you.
Right. But for me, I am a husband to my wife and a father to my two kids.
Okay.
I'm a 12-year-old and 10-year-old, and
Okay.
that's who I am first, right? And my nationality, I'm Hmong, so that's spelled Hmong. So those of you who want to go Google that, go ahead and Google that.
Okay.
And that's who I am.
Okay, great. So when we spoke originally during our meet and greet, you mentioned a little bit about just being first generation American. Why don't you go a little bit into that story and tell us what it was like growing up, coming to America?
Yeah, for sure. My parents escaped a war-torn country. They were refugees. They came to the U.S., thinking I'm going to provide my kids with this opportunity to have a better life, success, whatever that means, right? Whatever that meant at that time. For them, it was like, become a lawyer or a doctor. That's all they knew, right? So it's like,
that's right.
I was like, I'm sorry, I did not fit into that. I don't want to be around needles. I don't want to be around sick patients and be a doctor that way. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't want to go down that road. Yes. Right. So I was like, I didn't want to go down that road. But my mom's dream, right? My mom's dream.
Yeah.
Yes. 7 kids. Okay. 9. Actually 9, but I had 2 older siblings who passed away when they were younger from malnutrition back in Laos.
Okay.
So my mom's dream with her 7 kids is to have all 7 of her kids and their spouses and her grandkids all living under one roof. I'm just like, Mom, that's not possible, okay?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, right? So that was her dream. And she did have that dream happen at one time. At one time, all of her kids, all of their spouses, all of her grandkids were under one roof at one time.
Oh, wow.
This is at a wedding, though.
I love it.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to use that next time.
So this is at a wedding. We're all there. And my sister had moved away and, she wasn't around. But for this weekend, she happened to come back for the wedding. And originally, she didn't plan to be back for the wedding.
Yeah.
And it was great. She was dancing. My mom doesn't dance, right? My mom doesn't get on a dance floor. She was dancing. She was smiling. She was happy.
Oh.
And that was such a great moment.
Yeah.
And then the following day, I got a call from my brother. Hey, Mom slipped and fell. She's not breathing. Come on over now.
Oh my God.
So I was like, what? What is happening? I can't believe this is happening. So I rushed my wife, my kids. It's like, oh, we got to get and go. We just get in the car and we go. This is middle of winter, right? February or so.
Yeah.
And we're in Minnesota, so it's cold.
Right.
So I was like, let's get off. No, just get in the car and go. We don't. I lived 10 minutes away from my brother, so luckily it wasn't too far.
Yeah.
Right by the time I had gotten there, Dad said my mom wasn't breathing anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Paramedics came. They tried to help resuscitate her. They couldn't. Okay. So now it's like 12 hours ago, she was happy, dancing, all of that. 12 hours later, here she is, the rock of our family, the glue of our family.
Oh my goodness.
No longer with us.
Wow.
Right. Even prior to that, 20-some years ago, my dad had passed away already too from a tragic car accident. So here my mom is raising 7 kids on her own, playing the role of mom and dad.
Right. In a country she wasn't raised in.
Yeah. Right. Wow. Not knowing the language. She had she had the equivalency of a 2nd grade reading level.
Yeah.
Raising 7 kids on her own. And it wasn't later on And then I was asking her, I was like, Mom, how come you
Mm-hmm.
never got remarried? You know,
Yeah.
you were young, you were beautiful, you had opportunity to remarry.
Uh-huh.
She was like, I've heard of stories of stepdads coming in
Mm-hmm.
and abusing kids, not loving my kids, or
Yeah.
not just taking care of them. And so
Right.
she
Yeah.
didn't want to even take that chance.
Oh.
And I was like, wow,
Oh.
I didn't notice about her, right? It wasn't,
Wow.
that didn't hit my mind. It didn't come to my mind until I was later on in life and I started having these deeper
Mm-hmm.
conversations with her about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out, I
Wow.
was like, wow, right? Like she gave us all of this. And here I was, like young teenage years thinking, why is my mom always on my case? Why is she always so
Mm-hmm.
hard on me? Why can't
Mm-hmm.
she just give me some freedom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm so glad she was hard on me because
Right.
I could have, we grew up poor. We didn't have
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
We grew up in the projects, and I could have gone down the road of one or two bad decisions. I could have gone down being a gang member, doing
Mm-hmm.
drugs, in
Yep.
jail, maybe
Yep.
dead,
Yeah.
right? So I could have gone down all of that. And now I see why she was so hard on us, because she saw those pieces. Like
Yeah.
she didn't grow up in this country. She didn't know the language, but she knew enough that the
Mm-hmm.
environment that we were in, that we could have gone down that road of gangs and drugs and all of that. So that's
Yeah.
why she was hard on us. And I wanted to share that story of, my mom, of like her happiness, her one
Uh-huh.
moment that she had all of her kids, because
Yeah.
it was a great moment. And I look back at it, it's like, oh my gosh, I remember her being so happy. She was laughing and smiling on the dance floor, dancing. I was
Yeah.
like, my mom doesn't do that, right?
Yeah.
Um, and she
Oh.
was the glue and the rock of our family, and she
Right.
held it together.
Yeah.
And she did a phenomenal job of that,
Yeah.
raising 7 kids on her own. We
Yeah.
were young, when
Mm-hmm.
my dad passed. I was 8, so I have
Yeah.
very few memories of my dad.
Oh. Oh. And may I ask, of the seven, what number are you in the seven?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Right in the
So
middle.
being right in the middle, I wasn't old enough to hang out with the older siblings, but
Uh-huh.
I was right at the age of being old enough to take care of the younger siblings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, why am I always stuck at home watching my
Yeah.
younger siblings? I just want to go out and have fun and enjoy
Mm-hmm.
my time. No, 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 no. You just stay home. You stay home. You
You're the
watch them.
babysitter.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
So how much older is the older and how much younger was the younger? The
So
youngest.
the youngest for me she is, let me see, two,
Doing some
four,
math
five,
here.
five, yeah, 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
And then the oldest is,
Oh wow, she knocked them out. Or not them.
yeah.
She had you guys back to back. Oh my gosh. In the
And then
middle
the
of
oldest
seven.
is 6 years older than me.
Oh
Oh man, I
wow.
hope I got
She
that right.
really
Yeah.
did. You guys are like 1 year apart.
Yeah, we were
Two, one
all
to
we were all
two.
like 2 years apart.
Wow.
Just my two younger siblings are 1 year apart, but every other one of us is like 2 to 4 years
Yeah.
apart. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's close. That's close. I'm the middle as well, so I
Okay.
understand. But I'm the middle, the only girl in an Asian family. So
Oh,
I
jeez.
I feel more pain, I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes than you, but I did not have seven siblings. I had just two others. I had one older and one younger. And the older one was definitely self-sufficient, and the younger one was the one I was babysitting. He was tagging along, he was always around with me. But they were 5 years older and 5 years younger. So old enough that I had my space in school,
Hmm.
where if I was in elementary school, I think I shared the same school with my older brother just for like 2 years before he moved on. And then when I got to high school, I never shared the same school with my little one, I think maybe in kindergarten and fifth or sixth grade. But then
Hmm.
my older one, when we got to high school, I was the freshman, he was a senior. So for him, it was great because all of him and his friends were hitting on my friends. But
Okay.
it was terrible. For me, it was awful. I'm just like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? You
Yeah.
never wanted to talk to me before. Now suddenly there's benefits to it. But yeah,
Gosh,
I totally
Jasmine,
get
come
it.
on over here. Hold on, bring your friends with you, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That's what it is. And then here he is, actually helping me find out where the clubs are, signing up
Oh,
for
okay.
sports. And, I thought there was an ulterior motive to him being so proactive with getting me on the volleyball team. Oh man. He definitely, that was a selfish move for him. He was doing it for himself because he had a girl. There was a girl on the team that he liked. And I was just like, oh wow, my brother know when, when tryouts are,
Yeah.
what time we practice. He knows everything. Like he like really looked up this information for me. No, those were just his stalking info.
Jasmine, I'll
So
give you a ride to practice today. Okay, just let me know what time.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Be like, yeah, I'll show up to the games. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the closest we ever were. And then after that, he was off to college, and that was it. That was the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Elliot, so growing up in a house like that, being the middle child, being first immigrant, having a mother who, like you said, had second grade education, literacy education. How was it for you? How was it growing up? How was it being in a family like that? The types of struggles and the different things that you felt and saw growing up.
Yeah, it was tough. Right. My mom and dad had 3 kids prior to coming to the US, and in 1978, and then came to the US, and then I was born here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My dad was um, like the leader of our clan, the one who like the relatives and the cousins looked up to as the elder.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My dad
Yeah.
was played that role.
Yeah.
Um, and 8 years after being in the US, then I'm sorry, 10 years, right? And then my dad passed away in a tragic car accident.
Mm.
Um, and even up until this day, when I see relatives, they will still come and cry to me, come
Oh.
and hug me, and say how much they miss my dad, and tell
Oh.
stories about my dad.
Yeah.
And at first, I was like, oh, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to deal with this. But
Right.
now I've grown an appreciation for it because I don't have many memories of my dad.
Uh-huh.
But thank you for sharing because I want to hear more about him. I want
Mm.
to know who he is. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know all of that because you
Yeah.
were able to experience all of this with him. And I've grown to know that my dad is one who's very inclusive, right?
Good. Yeah.
Regardless of your education level, what you can do, right? My
Mm-hmm.
dad was one who's like, if you want to be with us, you're one of us. There's a role you could play. Come on
Mm-hmm.
in, right?
Oh
And just
wow.
like, okay, you may not be the general, you may not be the leader here,
Uh-huh.
but you can still play a part, right?
Yeah.
Because my dad knowing every part or every role is very important
Mm-hmm.
in the whole puzzle, right? So everybody
Yeah.
could be a piece of that puzzle. Um, and then my dad was a breadwinner. He was the one making
Mm-hmm.
money. I mean, it's so amazing that my dad here being in the US less than 10 years was an entrepreneur. He opened up
Yeah.
his own small business, right? He opened
Yeah.
up a grocery store. I'm like thinking,
Wow.
how did my dad do that? Back then, it wasn't,
Yeah.
he somehow, they're like crowdfunding, right? And was able to
Huh?
get the relatives
Oh wow.
involved.
Look at that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Everybody gave a little
before
bit.
his time.
Yeah, right. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing that he was able to do that because
Yeah.
there's no capital, no money, none of
Uh-huh.
that. But he was able to say, hey, let's all pool our money together so that we can
Wow.
open up this grocery store and not have to go buy from some other person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when my dad opened this, I wasn't involved with as much. My older brother was. But
Yeah.
I just heard stories of people coming in saying that they didn't have money to pay for stuff. Their kids wanted something, but they couldn't afford it. My dad's like, no, go ahead, take it. Just take it.
Oh.
Right. I owe you kind of thing. Right. Next time you
Yeah.
have it, just you can pay me back kind of thing. And I
Wow.
just heard of my dad being, I was like, what? Here we are. I'm a US born. I have all of these advantages on my side,
Yeah.
but here I'm struggling to even tap into what my dad has done. Right. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Oh my gosh. Wow.
so then growing up, it was a struggle and challenge for me. Not
Mm-hmm.
having that father figure role, not having a male figure around
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that I can learn from,
Yeah.
that I could kind of role model after, right? See that person do things and kind of pick up on their habits
Yeah.
and what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I took my mom for granted. Right? I
Yeah.
was like, oh, my mom didn't go to school here. I'm way smarter than her. I'm more educated than her.
Uh-huh.
I know more than her.
Mm.
And here I was, I was a pretty good student. I was pretty smart and was able to. I got by. I If I would have applied myself more in
Uh-huh.
school, like I would have been pretty good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But ninth, 10th grade, I was like A honor roll, B honor roll type of student.
Uh-huh.
And then 11th grade, halfway through, I got my license. I got my car.
Freedom.
I started driving to school. Right?
Freedom.
One day, one of my friends said, "Hey, you want to skip school today? You're driving us." I'm like,
Uh-huh.
looked at my schedule, was like, yeah, I don't have anything today, right? We could go. Like, okay, we went off, had fun, did whatever. Right.
Uh-huh.
Next day, hey, you want to do it again? I looked at my schedule. Okay. It led to the next
Uh-huh.
week, next month. I just stopped going to school.
Oh, wow.
And here I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do when my mom sees my report card?
Uh-huh.
To see that I
Oh,
failed all my
oh.
classes. Yeah, that's gonna
Yeah.
be the big no-no, right?
Oh.
But here I was thinking, I'm gonna outsmart her. Okay, I'm gonna be smarter than her. I'm gonna wait by
Uh-huh.
the mail, grab the mail, so she won't see my report card.
Yeah.
She won't know that I failed my classes.
Uh-huh.
Here I was, day after day. Summertime was coming, waiting for the mail. It's like, okay, it should be coming now. She could be coming now. I was like, and then the day that I didn't check,
Uh-huh.
there she was. She gets the mail.
Uh-huh.
She opens it up.
Of course.
She looks at it and sees it. I'm like, uh-oh. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
It was. She gave me a car. She let me drive to school, and here she was thinking that I've been at school all this time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even. So when she opened it, I it was bad. It
Yeah.
was bad for me.
Yeah.
It was
It was,
not a good situation for me.
it was old school Asian
Yeah.
parent bad.
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
We are not putting it on
Right. Yeah.
record what happened.
Yeah. I won't go into details of it, but it was bad.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, okay. So I was like trying to get back into good grades so that come senior year I could start driving again,
Mm-hmm.
participate in athletics, right? Because I participated in athletics in the fall. I played soccer,
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, I have to go back to school so that I can participate in soccer
Yeah.
because that was my passion. I enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
So then come fall again, I get to drive, start going to school,
Uh-huh.
get back in the rhythm, playing soccer. And I started trying to like work the system, right? I was like, okay, how long do I have to be in school so that I could attend practice?
Uh-huh.
Half the day. So I was like, okay, I'll go half the day so that I could participate in soccer. So I started working the system, and even
Wow.
soccer wasn't keeping me into school. And
Uh-huh.
I dropped out. Like I dropped out of
Mm-hmm.
high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I've been shameful of telling that story because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not like I didn't know my stuff. I couldn't do the work, but here I was being shameful of like
Yeah.
I dropped out of high school. Like that's
Mhm.
but now I'm like, hey, that's a choice I made
Uh-huh.
because I tell people, right, just because you made a bad choice doesn't mean you're a bad person,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
At that moment, I made a bad choice. Wasn't the best choice for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I went down that path. I wouldn't change it because that it's made me who I am, and
Mm-hmm.
it's built me to the type of person that I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I know, Elliot, we've only met but twice, but I have a confession. So I thank you for sharing that story because I did the same thing. You know,
Oh.
and I don't know if you've browsed through my social media, but I just earned my doctorate degree.
Oh, that's awesome!
Um,
Congrats.
but thank you from high school dropout to earning my doctorate degree, I did the exact same thing. I had a little bit of freedom. I was driving and I made the wrong choices. And I decided, but see, the thing was, I wasn't skipping school as much. Hopefully, my kids aren't watching this because they don't know this story.
Oh, okay.
But I wasn't skipping school as much. I just decided I wasn't going anymore. My
Mm.
friends who went to school, I had great grades. I was on a path to get a full ride scholarship to the University of Maryland, was what my counselor had told me. Listen, you continue doing what you're doing now, you're going to have a full ride, not a problem. Do well there, have a 3.5 GPA at UM. You're going to go straight to Johns Hopkins, go to medical school. I wanted to be a doctor. And so that was the path that I had laid in front of me if I just followed the
Yeah.
motion and kept going through it, making my parents proud, be that doctor, lawyer kid. Instead, my friends started going skipping school, and they were going out, they were getting high, and I was like, I'm not giving in to peer pressure. So I just went to school, but it got to the point where I was lonely.
Mm-hmm.
My tight group of friends were gone. They weren't there anymore. They were out getting high, and then I met up with them on the bus afterwards to go home, and here they are all high. And it
Mm,
was just like depressing, and I didn't want to expose myself, so I dropped out.
mm.
And my parents, being entrepreneurs, owning their own shop, was like, heck yeah, you drop out, you come help us full time. No hesitation with me saying, I want to drop out, to them saying, all right, you're coming to the
Yeah.
shop full time. And then that was it. That was kind of like, I just made my bed and now I have to lay in it. And that was me. And so then I regretted it. I went back, but when I went back, I was no longer in my honors classes. They just put me in, just
Mm.
normal classes. And
Yeah.
so I was stuck with the bad kids. And I'm just like, all right, this ain't for me. I'm pulling out again. So I left again.
Oh,
This was
okay.
all in junior year. I left again. And then finally, like, I don't know what it was, but I just told myself I have to get my high school diploma. I'm not getting a GED. And so I told myself I was going to go to night school. And so night school was like a new concept at the time. It was
Yeah.
for the troubled kids or
Mm-hmm.
the kids who had to work during the daytime to help their
Mm-hmm.
family out. So they had evening public school. So I
Yeah.
enrolled into evening public school, drove much farther out of my way, and like ace every single class because it was just too easy, and then got my diploma. Graduated at the exact same time I would have, but I mean, I did it too. I
Mm.
did it too. So we've all been there.
Well, at least you may came back and graduated on time with your what year,
Mhm.
right? I didn't, right? It just I
Yeah.
just kept skipping and kept missing. And I guess I was down that road of, if I would have kept going, I
Yeah.
would have got a full ride to college,
Yeah.
right? I was like, oh
Exactly.
yeah, like looking back, I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I could have gotten that.
Yeah.
I made that choice, and that's like you said, right? That's the bed that we made, so that's what
Hmm.
we sleep in.
Exactly.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, wow, how crazy is that? I wonder how
yes,
many other people have this hidden this hidden secret. Like my kids know up until the point where they knew the rebel part, and they knew
yeah,
I joined the army after high school, but they didn't know what happened
okay.
leading up to. And so my daughter asks me all the time, like I have a 15 and 17-year-old. So my daughter's like, "You didn't go to prom, mom?" And I was like, "No, I didn't go to prom." No. So
And just leave it at that, right? Yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's all you need to know. I didn't go to prom. No. You don't have high school pictures of the graduation? Maybe your grandma has it somewhere. Like it was that like the 2 years of my life she will never understand until she watches this episode, but it's a good thing for me. My kids are not supporting me with comfort kills like they
Okay.
should be. So, all right. So why don't you tell us about, okay, so now you're back and you finished school or you got your GED. Tell us where we left off from there.
Yeah, and I was kind of similar to you, right? I was like, I don't want to get my GED,
Yeah.
right? So I got to bring up being 20, and I was like, once I hit 21,
Mm-hmm.
I can't go to, I have to go to adult school and get a GED kind of thing, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I enrolled in the alternative school and
Uh-huh.
made up my credits, and gradually and slowly, and then I
Yep.
was able to, because I was like you said, right? I was able to do the work. It's not that doing the work was something that was difficult for me.
Uh-huh.
So I was able to do the work and did it at accelerated pace so that I can graduate with a high school diploma instead of a
Mm-hmm.
GED. So that was what really pushed me to say, hey,
Yeah.
you got to go back, get this diploma.
Awesome. Awesome. And then after that, you went into a career of
So I
not.
went into college.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, and in between there, right? Then that's when I got married as well, and I got married at a young age, and
Mm-hmm.
been with my wife for over 20 years now, and
Okay.
we have two lovely kids.
Congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would tell people, it's like, I've been married for 20 plus years. Like, you don't even like 20 yourself. I was like, I know, thank you. But,
Yeah. I
but I was
know.
like, yeah, we've been together for 20 plus years, and we're high
Uh-huh.
school sweethearts. And
Nice.
um, she's been there through thick and thin with me, and the one to
Mm-hmm.
push me um, to keep going, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
she was the one who pushed me to say, hey, finish high school so that you could get your diploma, and then
Good.
whatever you want to do after that, do after that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I went to college, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I want to do in college. And earlier said, doctor, lawyer, no, none of that. I was like, okay, I'm
Uh-huh.
good at math. Let's do accounting.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, I'll sign up for accounting major.
Mm-hmm.
And I met with the advisor of like the accounting department,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a people person. I need to be connected with people. I can't sit in an office. So I just kept that as my major as I
Yeah.
was going through my first year of school, right? And I was like, okay, I
Okay.
got to switch. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, communication. Maybe I could go do communication.
Yeah.
Right. So then I switched my major to communication. And even then, I was still struggling with what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. And then I stopped going to school after my second year of college because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I got to stop
Mm-hmm.
because the next year, the following year is going to be my major courses and all of that. And I'm not sure what I want to do yet.
Yeah.
So then I took a break from school, started working, and I knew there was something more for me. I knew there was more that I was yearning for, searching for. So I was like, okay, I'll go back to school. Went back to school, went through an accelerated program.
Mm-hmm.
So our classes were like 5 week increments, 5, 6 week increments,
Yeah.
but they were fast paced, right? We
Right.
met once a week, 3 hours a night, homework every single day. And I finished that in 18 months.
Wow.
And then I got that. So I, 2 years and into 18 months straight, all right? No
Yeah.
summers off and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Got my degree. It's like, what do I do now? Right? I
Uh-huh.
don't know what I want to do. Started working, finding jobs. Like I
Yeah.
said, there's more. I just didn't know what that more was, didn't know what
Mm-hmm.
to do. Um, and then fell into education by
Okay.
chance.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Okay.
like, and I've been told, oh, like when I was young, work with kids. You're so great with kids. Like, go become a
Yeah.
teacher. It's like, no, I don't want to be a teacher. I kept fighting it and fighting it because
Yeah.
like teachers make no money. It's not very fun,
Uh-huh.
invigorating, all of that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the belief I had that moment.
Oh, yeah.
I fell into it. Started working with kids.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
was like, why have I been saying no all these years?
Uh-huh. Everybody knew you but you.
Yeah, exactly, right? Everybody,
Yeah.
from my wife to my little cousins, like, "Oh, become a teacher." It's like, no. As soon as brought up, like, I shot it down, saying no.
Yeah.
Right? Fell into teaching. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for something like this. This is that more
Mm-hmm.
that I was yearning for, right? That I wanted
Yeah.
more of.
Yeah.
Um, and then coaching came up too,
Uh-huh.
right? Life coaching, and I was like, oh, who needs coaching? Like people who get coaching are people who are in crisis mode, people who
Mm-hmm.
need like severe help,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And then it got pushed upon me, the friend who just pushed, hey, try it out,
Yeah.
right? So I went through coaching, and even I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting. This is what I needed all along,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I just needed, because we get to that point. We know what we need to do,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just a matter of us doing it, right? What are some of those tips and strategies and habits that we could build in so that we
Mm-hmm.
could get moving,
Yeah.
right? So then I got coaching. I was like, okay, that's what I want to do, right?
Uh-huh.
So then I started doing more research because I didn't know much about the life coaching industry, right? I come from an athletic coaching background, so I know
Uh-huh.
about that piece, and I know how a coach can help you get better,
Right.
level up,
Yeah.
results, all of that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So then I started doing more research, started finding out more about it. Full blown. I was afraid to make this investment in myself, like afraid of taking the next step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And once I did, I was like, oh, no looking back.
Right.
Best investment I've ever made in myself
Uh-huh.
to get certification in coaching
Yeah.
so that I can help guide people to
Mm-hmm.
become who they want to become, right? The
Yeah.
life that they create.
Yeah.
Because people want to live that life. They're just not sure
Exactly.
how or what to do next
Right.
or unsure of what's going to happen next,
Uh-huh.
right? We don't know what's going to happen next,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
only way to find out is to take action and go do it. And then
Exactly.
you'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Find out afterwards. Yeah.
So that's kind of led me to where I am today.
Okay. Okay. So what was the pivotal moment that you felt, because I feel like coaching and teaching very much goes hand in hand. So you have a
Yes.
really good foundation as a teacher to take you to the next level and level up to be a coach. And then having more broader of a field of areas and individuals that you would handle and interact with. So what was the pivotal moment as a teacher So I'm going back a little bit. Just what's the
Mhm.
pivotal moment there that you felt was your aha moment before we go into the coaching?
It was when I was leading small groups
Uh-huh.
when I was a teacher,
Yeah.
um, outside of the classroom, leading small groups and having these small group discussions and just having these conversations with these
Mm-hmm.
students, these teenagers, and they're
Mm-hmm.
so curious about stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just love sharing and having them find answers. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I became a teacher, I was like, I have to know the answers. Like when
Uh-huh.
students come and ask me, I have to know. Right.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, and then as I got into it, I was like, no, I don't need to know the answers.
Mm-hmm.
What I can do is though help the student find the answers, right?
Right.
Show them the
Yeah.
resources, tell them how to, where
Yes.
to go.
Uh-huh.
And I just love that because when
Mm-hmm.
students would start asking me this stuff, I was just so, I don't know, like
You get excited.
yeah, I was so
Yeah.
super,
Yeah.
super excited about it. I was like, oh my gosh, they want to know more, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And here I am, like, okay, I'm willing to share
Uh-huh.
and be vulnerable, right? Because I wanted to role model that for them and say,
Yeah.
I don't know everything. I
Exactly.
want to pretend like I know everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Growing up, I was always taught just fake it till you make it, fake it till you make it.
I know. Why did
And I
they
was like,
say that? Ah, they set us up for failure with that phrase.
exactly. That was so hard to keep up, right? It's like
Uh-huh.
I have to pretend that I have to know everything, but I
Yeah.
don't know everything. And that wasn't serving me the best.
Yeah.
And that was
Exactly.
hindering me. That was holding me down. And I had to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I was like, okay, just role model it for these kids and these
Yeah.
students and the ones you're around. And I just love that small group environment because
Uh-huh.
kids are so more willing to open up when it's a
Mm-hmm.
smaller group and the things that they talk about and that they share
Mm-hmm.
outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
It is just so you just learn so much more about them.
Right.
And I just love that piece of letting the other person know that they're being heard
Uh-huh.
and they're being
Yeah.
seen,
Yeah.
right? So those are two big things for me
Uh-huh.
as being an educator of being in front of students is, hey, I hear you and I
Mm-hmm.
see you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
then students would come to me like, how do I fit into that cool group? And what do I need to do?
Yeah.
I was like, be yourself,
Exactly.
right? If you're not being yourself and
Yeah.
you're pretending to be someone else, once you get in, once you're
Uh-huh.
with that crowd, that group, and then you start acting yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
then that doesn't jive with them,
Yep.
they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
start talking about you. You're
Yeah.
gonna be like the black sheep. You're
Yeah.
gonna get like bullied, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
If they accept you, they accept you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to be somebody that you're not. Like, don't try too hard to say, I want to be with the cool group and I want to go do that.
Yeah.
So those are things, right? I just
Uh-huh.
being heard and being seen were two
Yeah.
big moments for me that I was starting to get aware of. My self-awareness for myself is that I was providing that for the students and students would come and talk to me. I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's all it took,
Yeah.
right? Just letting them know to be heard and be seen.
Uh-huh.
And then, I started just getting that energy from these students and talking about non-academic stuff and stuff
Mm-hmm.
outside of school. And
Yeah.
that like really energized me
Yeah.
and brought that joy and excitement for me.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. Um, so can you explain to me, and this is going to segue hopefully into our next topic, which is can you explain to me what living with intention means to you?
Yeah, right. Just how do you want to show up every day?
Uh-huh.
Who do you want to be every day? Right? Those are
Yeah.
questions that I ask myself in the morning. Like even just coming on before coming on the podcast with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want to be with Jasmine?
Mm-hmm.
How do I want to show up with Jasmine? And
Yeah.
reminding myself, even though we might know it, and in the
Yeah.
back of our minds and in our heads, we know, oh, this is who I want to be. But just having that one moment right before you do something or make that decision and
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself those questions. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come on and be authentic, be myself,
Yeah.
right? I'm going to
Yeah.
come on, be vulnerable. And
Yeah.
whatever Jasmine asks, be willing to share, be open about it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no shame in what I've done or how I've done things.
Uh-huh.
That's who I am, and that's what I've done. and I'm okay with openly sharing that,
Uh-huh.
to let others know, hey, you're not alone. You have a story. I have a story.
Mm-hmm.
Let's all share our stories, because everybody's
Exactly.
story is worthy of being told.
Right, right. And that's the whole purpose behind Comfort Kills, is being able to find those stories and then putting it on this type of platform so that everybody can hear and relate and resonate, and if something really speaks to their soul, reach out to you and make a connection, whatever that connection is, whether it's a new friendship or whether it's a new partnership or relationship in any type of way. I think it's really important because I think a lot of times we think that we're the only ones who have made the mistakes that we've made in life,
Hmm.
if we want to call them mistakes,
Yeah.
and then, or taking the steps that we've made. And then here we are, we just found this connection that we
Yeah.
both junior year decided to be rebels,
Exactly.
you know, and, and, and that's crazy. So that's awesome though.
And then
So,
going back to your question about intentions, right? It's,
uh-huh,
are you setting those intentions every day, or you just leaving it to chance or randomness, right?
mm-hmm.
I was once there. I was like, I was sleepwalking my way through life, and whatever
Yeah.
happened, happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, that wasn't a good feeling for me.
Uh,
Now I'm setting an intention of being present, right? Being present with my kids,
yeah.
being present with my wife, being present with people I interact with,
Mm-hmm.
just to let them know, like I said, right, that they're being heard and they're being seen,
Yeah.
right? Just so that we're human beings. We all
Yeah.
need that social connection. And here I am, if I'm talking to you, Jasmine, and I'm looking
Mm-hmm.
off my screen or touching my phone or doing all that doesn't vibe well, right? Doesn't jive, right? I want to be able to
Yeah.
give you my full attention
Mm-hmm.
and be present with you.
Exactly, exactly. And it's one of the things, one of the models that we have at work is be here now. So be
Hmm.
here, be present, actively listen, and really just understand what's going on around you. And like very much just open up your mind 100%, be here in that moment. And I think just those are wise words, because being able to be here and be intentional will really set us up for success day after day. And that those small little mini habits will really build up to be something very big.
Yeah, I love to remind myself and remind those around me, right? We
Yeah.
underrate today so
Uh-huh.
much, and we overrate tomorrow so much, right? And we
Mm.
forget to live in the now, right? Just be
Wow.
present, right?
Yeah,
Don't underrate today and overrate tomorrow. Like, live in the now, like be
that's
here,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good. That's good stuff. I want to like stop and write this down. All right. So now you've done your teaching gig, you've enjoyed it, you've loved it, you're changing lives at the student level, but now you found even more passion in coaching. Tell me a little bit more about your transition into that and what high performance coaching means.
Yeah, right. First, I just want, like, I tell people I'm a high performance coach. They're like, what is that?
Right. Yeah. What is it?
But high performance, right, is, first I'll describe what high performance is.
Uh-huh.
What high performance is performing at those high levels
Yeah.
for long periods of time,
Okay.
right, over the long term, right?
Yeah.
You can sustain it. They're maintainable over the long term, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what high performance is, right? And what
Okay.
I do as a high performance coach is I help guide people to self discover. Right, I'm a
Uh-huh.
coach. I don't tell them what to do and tell them what they should be doing, need to be doing, could be doing, all of that. I
Mm.
just help them to self discover these habits. They already know it, they have it in place.
Mm-hmm.
It's just digging deeper
Yeah. Yeah.
into what they already know to bring it out of them.
Okay.
Because one, we have fears, right? That
Mm-hmm.
holds us back.
Yeah.
We love to get in our own way. Right?
Yeah.
We are our worst enemy sometimes, where we hold ourselves back,
Yeah.
and we have fears and limited beliefs and all of that, right? That comes out to play. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I want to do this because I'm not sure how it's going to turn out.
Uh-huh.
How do you know how it's going to turn out? I don't. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's find options for you to take the next step, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's to build, to see how their best self, their truest self, in the long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that long term goal is for them, see that and get that emotion or feeling behind it, and then come back to present day. And then
Uh-huh.
what is the next best step that you
Yeah.
could take to get there? Right? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, especially around this time, right? New Year's resolutions, people talk about losing weight,
Yeah.
getting healthier habits. And here they are, oh, by March 1st, I want to lose 20 pounds.
Uh-huh.
The first week, they're all like gung ho about it, super excited.
Yeah.
And then they look and step on the scale. Oh my gosh, I only lost 1 pound in 1 week. How am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do this by March 1st? How can I lose 20 pounds? We only have 12 weeks to go. I
Yeah.
can't, that's not doable. So then they start thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is
Uh-huh.
too hard. And then they just stop, right? The
Yeah.
excitement dies down. It's like, okay, let's not look at that. Let's don't measure it now, right? We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
measure it
Mm-hmm.
by March 1st. Don't measure it by like end of the first week. Of
Yeah.
course, you're not gonna get there yet,
Yeah.
right? So just keeping on with those habits and
Uh-huh.
building it in so that by March 1st, these habits are built in you,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're continuing on throughout the rest of the year, right? And
Mm.
just using that as an example
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the health thing there. Yeah.
Okay. And so when is it important for somebody to reach out to health, because we're talking health,
Yeah.
to a high performance coach? At what point is it, well, should I be able to recognize it? How will I know that this is my next step to get me to the next level?
Yeah. When you feel stuck,
Uh-huh.
when you feel like there's more, when you feel like you want to get to the next level, you're just
Mm-hmm.
unsure of how to get there. When you feel like, okay, I need to level up here, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure of what I need to do, right?
Yeah.
That's where you could reach out to a high performance coach, and a high performance coach can have a discovery call with you, a strategy session with you, to see if
Mm-hmm.
it's a good fit, to see where you're stuck, and to see
Mm-hmm.
if it is. Because sometimes it's, a coach can't help you with therapy stuff, right? So you might need to see a
Mm-hmm.
therapist or a specialist in that field before working for coach, right?
Yeah.
But if a coach is your next step, and that's the I and for you to get to the next level, sure, go for that route. And I
Uh-huh.
encourage everybody to get a coach, right?
Yeah.
So that they, not just an accountability partner,
Mm-hmm.
right? As a high performance coach, I'm here to be, yes, one, your accountability partner, but I'm also here to challenge you and
Mm-hmm.
push you, right? I'm not just here to be, okay, what are we going to do today? What do you want to work
Right.
on?
Yeah.
Okay, great. See you next week. I'll hold you to those.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, but is that really stretching you?
Uh-huh.
Right? I want to be here to, because if you're telling me you want to get to the next level, you want to get to the next stage, the
Mm-hmm.
next whatever, I'm going to stretch your thinking
Mm-hmm.
so that you can get to the next level
Yeah.
faster,
Uh-huh.
quicker, right?
Yeah.
At an accelerated pace. Because
Yeah.
here we only have time, right? We say, oh, I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have time to do
Mm-hmm.
that. How? Let's pick up the pace then. If you
Yeah.
want to move at a quicker rate, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this goes back a lot to Elliot. I think this is why you having the teacher foundation is so important for this, is because you use this and implement this likely with your students. They come to you, they have a question, they have a problem. And like you were saying before, instead of knowing all the answers and then just throwing answers at them, you're actually empowering them to find
Yeah.
within themselves, where are the answers? What are your resources? We have so much nowadays. It used to just be Britannica. Now
Yeah.
you have it at your fingertips. Find out, there are ways to find those answers. And you didn't just give them answers, you gave them tools for life. And so here you are using those same things into your coaching business, where you're allowing people to be more empowered on finding deep within themselves. Okay, you're coming to me with a problem. These are your situations. You're stuck. Now let's start digging deeper, and now let's see what can we do to change this and level up and really just progress and at an accelerated pace. And
Mm-hmm.
that's fantastic. And I think sometimes it's going back to the basics of what we know is really important too. I think sometimes we think, like you were saying, we're overrating tomorrow, and we're thinking so far ahead and
Yeah.
so far ahead, but we're not right here right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the answers are right in front of you and you don't even realize it. And sometimes you just need that person to kind of nudge it back into
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about being a coach, right? Because when you're help pushing people to self-discover and they find out on their own, and
Uh-huh.
that light bulb goes off,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh my gosh, I knew that all along, but
Yeah.
I just didn't think of it. I was like, perfect. Right? And I get that sense of like, okay, sense of achievement, or sense of appreciation, like, oh, this
Uh-huh.
is why I do what I do, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not telling them the answers. They're discovering themselves. They're finding out for themselves,
Mhm.
and they already know it. But when they find that out, and then when that moment comes, I'm just like, okay, this is such a great feeling for me, right? So
Yeah. You
that's
love
a great
watching that
part.
light bulb go
Yeah,
off.
yes, exactly. Right. What people call aha moments, right? But like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, aha, like I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So why do you do what you do? I mean, I know we've gone into it a little bit here and there. You love the aha moments, but like at the end of the day, we are living in a pandemic. I know it's got to be difficult for you to get people to be more motivated outside of their little bubbles right now. So why is it you do what you do?
Because I was once there, right?
Yeah.
I felt stuck. I felt I wanted more. Just didn't know where to find it, how to find it, who
Mhm.
to go to find it.
Yeah.
And here I am. I was like, oh, I want to be able to help who I was 10 years ago, right? And push myself along and be that person to guide me, right? So I just want to
Mm.
be able to use my stories, my perspective, and say, hey, you don't have to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Right here, I was being told, when you're in 20s, you're doing this. In your 30s, you have everything figured out. 40s, you're moving to your 50s, you're doing this. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why do we have that written out for us already, right? That's not the story.
Yeah.
That that's not the book that I was made from. That's not the
Mhm.
book that I'm a part of.
Mhm.
And I just want to be able to
Mhm.
share that everyone is unique,
Yeah.
right? There's 7.9 billion people in this world,
Yeah.
and there's not two people that are like.
You're right.
Every single one person is different. Every
Mhm.
single person is unique, and
Mhm.
everybody has their own uniqueness and awesomeness. And I just want to remind people, hey, you're awesome,
Yeah.
right? And how do we get that out of people? How do we dig deeper
Uh-huh.
so that people can share that? Because
Yeah.
imagine like 7.9 billion people in this world, and if we had joy and happiness, how much of that would change this world,
Mhm.
especially
Yeah.
during this time, pandemic. The whole world is going through, not just one part of the world, not
Uh-huh.
just certain countries. Everybody's going through it.
Yeah.
But if we had more joy, more happiness in this world, like what would that look like?
Uh-huh.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So that's why I do what I do. I just want to keep challenging people, guiding people, so
Mhm.
that they can live a life that they create, so
Mhm.
that they can be heard, so that they
Yeah.
can be seen, and then just pay that forward, right? So that they can go to the next person and
Uh-huh.
the next person and just continue that on. So
Yeah.
that's why I enjoy doing what I do.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. Well, we appreciate it. It's people like you doing that helps to motivate us. And while you were talking, it made me think my cousin all the time always says that she's looking for friendship and like that wise old soul. She just wants an older lady to throw knowledge on her, just tell her what to do, tell her this. But I think I'm gonna have to call her after this and say to her, like, I think what you've been asking for all along is a high performance coach. Like,
Yeah.
and I think I might know one for you. Like, and I, and I think that's what she's yearning for, that she just wants somebody to help her with like just gift her with the knowledge and the old wives tales or whatever it is. But I think, that's a lot of us are looking for that. And a lot of times we don't realize that there's these resources like what
Mhm.
you're doing, Elliot, around us that can help fill those voids and get us to the next level. So, wow, that's,
And especially now, right during this time, like this Zoom calls, video
yeah,
conferencing calls has become so normal that
right.
you could connect with people halfway across the world, and
Yeah.
parts of the world that you would have never thought. Like I've connected
Uh-huh.
with people from parts of the world that I never thought I would visit.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just so amazing
Uh-huh.
to hear all the stories and be like, oh, people from this part of the world struggle with that.
Yeah.
People from this part of the world deal with that challenge as well.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we're not alone, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're halfway across the world, they're doing
Right.
this,
Right.
it's still the same struggles, same challenges,
Yeah.
just a different environment, a different culture type of thing. But we
Hmm.
all deal with the same things.
Yeah. So, Elliot, if I gave you a billboard, what would it say?
Simple, simple. Two
Simple.
words:
Uh-huh.
be you.
Okay.
Right? That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Right? I just want people to be themselves
Uh-huh.
and share themselves confidently
Yeah.
and openly,
Uh-huh.
right? Because they have a story to be told. They
Yeah.
have a perspective that needs to be seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody has walked in their shoes. Nobody has lived their story. Only they have.
Uh-huh.
So, makes it simple. I just say, be you.
Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Big bold letters, right? That's it.
Big bold letters with a period at the end.
Yes,
Maybe an
yes.
exclamation mark if you feel a little fancy.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. So sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Is there anything that I should have asked you during this interview that you would like to have your last words with?
I just want to leave people with this.
Uh-huh.
It's not what you know,
Uh-huh.
but it's who you are with what you know.
Right. Right.
Right. So we all know what we need to know already,
Mm-hmm.
but it's who are we going to become with what we know, right? Are
Mm-hmm.
we going to be one where sitting on the couch, watch Netflix all day, or are we going to be one to say, oh, I'm going to go learn this skill,
Yeah.
I'm going to go learn that, I'm going to go join this group, I'm going to connect
Uh-huh.
with these people,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because now we have no excuses. We have more time on our hands now
Mm-hmm.
than we did a year ago,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
January 2020, we probably busy all doing all this. Now, January 2021, we should have more time to skill up in some area.
Yeah.
We want to get
Yeah.
next level
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah.
We should be able to read more. We should be able to take on more courses. We should be able to connect with more people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to wear pants, right? You can wear shorts,
No.
a nice top, go connect with people.
Exactly. You can have holes all over your bottoms if you want to.
Exactly. You could have your slippers on. That's all good. Okay,
Yeah.
people.
Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, Elliot. Well, it's been so fantastic. I know that there are different ways for people to reach out to you. So why don't you tell us where people can find you to get in contact with you if they would like to? And then I also know that you have a special as well for our listeners. So if you would like to speak to that as well.
Well, people can connect with me at elliotvang.com. That's ELLIOTT, two T's. Okay, remember two T's.
Ah,
VANG.com, right? And
okay.
they could go find out there. I have a few specials on there, a few offers on there. Go and connect with me
Yep.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Find out more information about me there.
Uh-huh.
And then, on Facebook, just look up Elliott Vang, and then you can find me there on Facebook as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Elliot. I think we learned a lot about you today, and we learned about where you came from, where you started with your mentorship journey, and then where it's landed you now. And I really appreciate it. I think you bring a lot of special knowledge and just like a special touch about you to the world. And I hope that people do find that what you had to say today really resonated with them and start reaching out to you, because I think you can really be of service to a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you for this time, Jasmine. I just want to say thank you to you. I honor you for your time, your commitment to this. So I just wanted to say thank you for coming and allowing me to come into your platform
Yes.
and sharing a little bit about what I do as a high performance coach and who I am. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Elliot.
Thank you.